Everyone, I want to welcome you to the Audit and Finance Committee meeting for Thursday, April 25th, 2024. I hope you all have had a pleasant day today. It's beautiful outside and the weather's supposed to get better. All right, we'll start with council here. Will you take attendance, please?
Sure, Madam Chairwoman. Ms. Willingham.
Present.
Reedy and Clay are excused. Camisso.
Here.
Demalowitz.
Here.
Ray Joyce.
Here.
Lakakis.
Yes.
Bergdorf.
Here.
And Grimm.
Here.
You have a quorum, Madam Chairwoman.
Thank you very much. All right, we're going to begin right now, and we're going to start with the council will read the very first item on our agenda.
First item is approving the previous meeting minutes.
I got a motion from Mr. Camisso. I got a second from Mr. Grimm. All those in favor?
Aye.
Oh, I'm sorry, opposed? All those in favor? Unanimous. Thank you very much.
All right, and next we're moving to item 19. Item 19 is amending multiple bond resolutions for the County of Albany, New York regarding various technical amendments, and I believe the comptroller is here this evening.
Good evening,
Good evening, Ms. Rizzo.
Madam Chair and members of the Audit and Finance Committee. I'm submitting a request for approval for technical amendments to certain previously authorized but not yet borrowed against bond authorizations. These technical amendments will provide for flexibility to use the general fund to pay for certain projects within the adopted capital plan. The flexibility is necessary in those instances where Albany County seeks to avoid increased interest expense. There are seven resolutions attached that we propose the language be adjusted. If the committee members have any questions, I'll be entertaining them at this time. Otherwise, I request your approval.
Do I have any questions from the members?
Motion.
I have a motion from Mr. Demalowitz. I have a second from Mr. Camisso. All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Very convincing.
Thank you. Yes.
Item 2 is authorizing a memorandum of understanding with the City of Albany regarding the CARES of New York Housing Resources Connection Program and amending the 2024 Albany County budget. I believe Mr. Sagan?
Number 2.
Awesome. Hi, everybody. My name is Christina Rust. I've met a couple of you so far. Some I might be a new face to. I'm a newer policy analyst for the County Executive's Office. And this request is just to accept $900,000 from the City of Albany as matching funds for the investment into the CARES of New York Housing Resource Connection Program.
What number are we on?
Number 2.
All right, are there any questions from the members? Mr. Grimm.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, in the language of the resolution, it says the scope of services, joint funding for homeless outreach and resource connection, as well as the relocation of the Camino Nuevo Addiction Treatment Center. Is that part of the
No,
controversy?
that was supposed to be removed. Which part of the language is that in?
It's in one of the, either ROAs or whatever. Yeah, number 2. Unless I got it wrong. but-
Yeah, no, that's old language that has been amended
Okay.
since
All right, I'm fine. then.
original adoption.
It was old language. Okay.
Apologies for that.
It's
You
okay.
know what I would like for you to do? I would like for you to explain just a little bit more about the program.
Sure. Well, really this request that I come before you with right now is just to accept the funds from the City of Albany. But just for more context about the CARES of New York Resource Connection Program. So this is basically an outreach program that we will be partnering with the CARES of New York group with to provide contact with our homeless population, unstably housed population within the County of Albany with a primary focus in the City of Albany. So they will be out on the streets. They'll also be accepting any recommendations of oh, we know that there are pockets of people that are in this area of the county who might need some assistance. And they'll be offering any kinds of housing assistance and then providing case management services for finding housing and any other resources someone who is homeless might need.
Okay, and this is over a 3-year period. How many people do they anticipate in actually seeing? And if you can remember the breakdown of how they felt it was going to work.
So the first year of this is, of course, going to be the first year of a pilot, so it's all estimated, but it's gonna be somewhere around 50 to 60 people for the initial contact. And these are the individuals that, there's no guarantee that they're going to accept entering into the program, but the estimates are a bit lower for those who are actually accept to be a part of the program, probably closer to 20 to 30. Those are the ones who are gonna go through, get connected with housing services, mental health, addiction treatment services, and the like. Of course, these are just preliminary estimates. Once the first year is up, we'll have a better understanding, but we will be getting quarterly updated numbers as the process goes along, and then, of course, annual reports at the end of each year.
Okay, how will you be providing those reports to the legislature?
However, the legislature would prefer those reports be conveyed. We're open to ideas. They could be reported here, by email, meetings of the like, whichever you would prefer.
Well, I would prefer that it would be sent, you know what, I think, as much as I think that all of the legislature should receive copies, I want to make sure that the Audit and Finance Committee gets those reports, especially since we're the ones voting it out and responsible for dollars being paid. Mr. Demalvo.
I'm reading maybe the same thing that Mr. Grimm is on page 11, or back up, and it says joint funding for homeless outreach and resource connection as well as relocation of the Commonwealth Addiction Treatment Center.
Yeah,
What is that all about?
That's old language. It
That was just-
supposed to
Old
be
language?
Yeah,
amended.
mistake, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, language.
This is only for CARES in New York. There was an original RLA because the original plan was to accept funding from the city of Albany, not only for CARES, but also for the Camino Nuevo relocation, I'm sorry. So that was an RLA that encompassed both, but obviously since everything that's happened
Split it
since
up.
then, well, it was anything related to Camino Nuevo funding has been withdrawn.
Been withdrawn?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
From the county.
What's that?
From the county.
From the county, yeah.
The county funds related to that,
Yeah.
yes.
Mr. Bergdorf.
I got a question here. I'm on page 3 of the justification, where it says they're going to accept 900, the county, the city is going to match, I guess, $900,000 that the county is putting up,
Correct.
right? And for 3-year contract, individuals with housing assistance, but it says somewhere basically in the city of Albany. Does the CARES program run countywide?
Yes, so this specific agreement with CARES is gonna be operating throughout the entire county. So their resources will be available for outreach anywhere within Albany County, but there are obviously gonna be some prime focuses within certain areas that are known to have a high homeless population within the city of Albany.
So we're putting up 900,000, the city's putting up 900,000, and there's gonna be a focus on the city of Albany, but you're telling me that there will still be this service in
Correct.
Waterville, and Cohoes, and
Correct.
Colony, and
Yeah.
Bethlehem, et
And-
cetera.
Yep, and Christina alluded to it earlier, but part of the program will be referral-based. So if anyone of the legislators here happen to see a large homeless encampment or anything of the like, please contact our office, we'll pass that along to CARES, and they can operate based on that. But I think if you travel the county, you'll notice there's higher homeless populations. They're a lot of times in obvious locations. Sometimes they're at intersections, sometimes they're in intersections. So, the obvious locations will obviously get attention, but if there's places that they're not seeing, then, you as legislators are sort of the eyes and the ears on the ground closer to your constituents. So we're gonna rely on you as well.
Mr. Strick.
Madam Chairwoman, thank you. I'm not a member of the committee, so
That's
is
okay.
everyone gone?
Yep.
Along your lines of reporting, I'd like to ask a question, sort of on the impact.
Sure.
So, and I may have got a little number salad going, but it says it's 900,000 accepted from the city, and the county is also placing 900,000?
Correct.
This is over a period of 3 years.
Yes.
So it's 600,000 a year, roughly?
300, 600,000
Yeah.
total between
Total
city
for the
and
program.
state.
I'm talking programmatically,
Yeah,
just.
1.8
Yeah.
million over 3 years.
And we're looking to see about 100 people a year for the 600,000 a year? Is that roughly correct?
Well, as we were talking about earlier, so with some of the projections of what CARES is hoping to do is reach within that like ideal ballpark of 60 people. That's also like, you know, we could meet much more than that. But that's what they project will be possible within at least the first year of making those individual interactions with folks on the street.
So by interaction, so let's just say, for example, we're gonna use $10,000 per person. Are we giving them something with that money?
So this is going to be funding, it's mostly funding the expansion of like the employees within CARES or that we're contracting with, so they're able to make these interactions. So for example, within some of the language of the previous RLA that we had presented and that had passed, it alluded to more of how CARES will specifically be providing these services, like the number of employees and expanding the amount of hours that they're operating towards this program specifically. So they're gonna be providing those organizational services and case management services towards people who are homeless or unstably housed.
Yeah, I think that you're talking about hiring employees, so that needs to be sort of a part of the calculus here. And also, I do want to reiterate, happy to answer other questions, but this is just to accept the money from the city of Albany. So.
I'm just trying to figure out what we're doing with it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
absolutely.
absolutely, happy to answer any more
Thank you.
questions though.
If you look in the backup, I just want to say this is a very intensive program, because it does provide, what they realize is that they will approach some people who won't have anything to do with them, okay? And then there are a certain group of people that they will come in contact with. And then after that, even the ones that they come in contact with, the number is going to decrease as far as those who that will actually accept services, okay? And then there's supportive housing. It's also to help people, you know, to feed them on the street. They're gonna meet them where they're at and provide as much services as they can. And so as they move these people to, whether it's gonna be mental health services, whether it's going to be services where they'll help them to be able to get medical care, but ultimately, in the end, what they're trying to do is provide housing for these people. And that number goes down in regards to how many people actually accept the full package.
Yeah, I think it's a matter of trust in the community. So that number, 60 to 100, might be small now, but once you see these individuals from the program out in the community, they build trust with the homeless population, you'll see those numbers grow. But,
And they'll place them in housing for that?
yeah, the idea, to Chairwoman's point, is to get people on their feet and living independently, not on government programming. So
Mr. Grimm,
that's
did you
the
raise your
ideal.
hand?
Yeah, thanks,
Mr.
Madam
Grimm.
Chair. Yeah, this is a big outlay for a really important mission. Do you have ways of measuring how well you do? You know, along the lines that Chair Willingham was saying, these are the things we want to do. Can we track just how well we're doing? What do you have planned for that?
Absolutely, so that would be with under CARES' purview, but within their response to the RFP for this specific service, I believe they have outlined some measurable outcomes, like sometimes, some sort of KPI or SMART objectives as well. So I believe that would be outlined in any kind of attachment from the awarded RFP that we've chosen from them.
Yeah, and annual reports.
Yeah, just,
Sure.
so many government reports and reports are bureaucratic gobbledygook. When I'm looking for are really clear results, for example, how many people did we get into housing? That kind of thing.
Yeah,
How we
exactly.
sustained them, those kinds of, really, just worry about the big ticket items. They're the ones I really would like to see.
I'm sure that would be included in the reporting. Of course, all the reporting goes through the contractor, but we will receive those reports. And we've had plenty of conversations between us and the chairwoman. They're very open to any kind of changes to improve the program. They understand that this is a large expense for the county, and any kind of reporting changes that you'd like to see, I'm sure they'd oblige.
Okay, thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Mr.
Madam
Bergdorf.
Chair.
Just let me make sure I understand this correctly. We approved this program in March, right?
Correct.
Okay. So what we're doing here today is really just saying, okay, here's the framework for which we can take the money from the city of Albany
Correct.
that they promised to pay.
Yeah, this is
So
just
this
to
is
accept the
revenue
funds.
in for something that we already authorized.
That's
Correct.
right, that's correct.
Sounds like a good thing.
Very good, very
Motion to
good.
move on that.
All right, got a motion from Mr. Demolowitz, I got a second from Ms.
Together.
McCoskey. All those in favor?
1.8 million between the
Opposed?
two
Yeah.
over 3 years.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Item 3 is withdrawn. Then we're going to move to item 7.
What was withdrawn?
This is authorizing the submission of a grant application
Withdrawn?
to Empire State Development regarding Restore New York Communities Initiative funding. Mr. Sagan.
Hi, I'm back. Yeah, so
Okay.
this
Gentlemen.
is
Go ahead.
the authorization to apply for the Restore New York grant application, which would be used for the demolition of Central Warehouse. As the cover letter alludes to, this has been an ongoing saga. Plenty of efforts are made to keep the building and renovate it, which is not necessarily the case anymore. So this fund will be a $10 million grant, $1 million match from the county. Similar to the Altech Steel site, it will be transferred to the Albany County Alliance, and then used for, for the highest and best use. So any questions, be happy to answer.
Any questions from the members? Okay, I'll start with Mr. Grimm.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, we kind of skipped quickly, I didn't get a chance on the last item. We're saying that the county is not going to give any money regarding the Camino Nuevo move.
The Camino Nuevo, no, that item has been withdrawn.
I just want to make sure withdrawn means that's it.
That's it.
Thank you, man.
Mr. Bergdorf?
Yeah, this is the grant for Central Warehouse, right?
Yes, that's correct.
First of all, I would like to be a sponsor of that.
Hey,
Long time coming. It was funny, I was driving down I-90 a couple of weeks ago, and I saw the old beech nut facility that some of us have driven past 100 times. And they got ESDC money to take down the beech nut facility. And so the plan here is for $10 million from Restore New York. And the huge thing that happened was the range of demolition went up to 25 million. And I guess they got a determination that they could recycle the concrete waste, which means it does not have to go into a local landfill, or even worse, be shipped out to out past Rochester. So those are huge savings and bring the price tag down. This is a great step forward. And I thank the county executive for working hard to make this a reality.
Absolutely. Thank you for your support.
If there are no further questions?
Pardon
No,
me?
there's still more.
Okay, Mr. Drake.
This is phenomenal. One question. Did Buell, did those guys ever pay the 50 grand to buy it?
how much is it?
50 grand, I'm not entirely sure.
don't even know where.
So the deal was,
10
that we were selling it to them for $50,000 to satisfy the outstanding tax lien.
I would have to check in on that.
So if they paid it, do we give it back?
We're getting it.
No.
I don't know.
Uh-huh.
I
I
say,
know- I
I
know
vote
it's-
no.
Yeah, I'm just wondering. That's the question. Did they pay it? And if we paid it, if they
Well,
paid
then
it,
it
do
would
we
just
keep it?
Well,
satisfy
this
the,
is, we're
satisfy
just
the lien.
applying for the grant now. This is what this is all about. So as far as what your concerns are, that should be taken up on a separate
Well, the
issue.
point is, we're taking the asset away, so it's just sort of like a point of question, you know?
Well, they're giving it back.
Yeah, they're giving it
If there are
back,
no
yeah.
further questions, I'll make a
The
motion.
deconstruction's gonna
All
happen
right,
under
so,
their name.
no further questions. I accept the motion from Ms. Lakakis and the second from Mr. Demolowitz. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous, thank you very much. Mr.
Thank you.
Sagan.
All right, item 8, we need a motion to table.
So moved.
Okay, got a motion to table from Mr. Lakakis, a second from Mr. Demolowitz. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much.
Item 9 is authorizing cancellation of certain unenforceable delinquent real property tax liens on 450 Central Avenue in the city of Albany and charge back of the amounts credited in connection with said canceled liens.
Hi, Mr. McGuire, how are you?
Good evening, Audit and Finance Committee. How's it going?
Great.
I missed you all yesterday. So I have a request for your approval for the resolution which to declare an outstanding tax levied against 450 Central Ave as unenforceable pursuant to real property tax law, section 1138. The property is owned by the U.S. Postal Service. It's exempt from real property taxes under real property tax law, section 400. As the property is owned by the federal government, there are no means for us to enforce these taxes. We can't foreclose on the property. These stem from unpaid taxes from 2013, 14, 15, and 18. The total amount to be declared unenforceable is $1,883.79.
Motion to move.
Second?
Okay, I got a motion from Mr. Demarvitz, I got a second from Mr. Tackett. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous, thank you very much.
Item 10 is authorizing cancellation of certain unenforceable delinquent real property tax liens on 76 Osborne Street in the city of Albany and chargeback of the amount credited in connection with said canceled liens.
So this is very similar to the last item. It's 76 Osborne is owned by the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, which is also an entity of the federal government. We cannot foreclose on the property. There's unpaid taxes from 2006 to 2023, totaling an amount of $29,457.97.
Motion?
Second.
I got a motion from Mr. Tackett, I got a second from Mr. Demarvitz. All those in favor? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous, thank you very much.
Item 11 is authorizing cancellation of a certain unenforceable delinquent real property tax liens on 17 and 17A Corporate Woods Boulevard in the town of Colony and chargeback of the amount credited in connection with said liens.
So very similar to the last two. The difference here is that this is a property owned by the New York State Police. So it's a different section of law that they are exempt under. They actually bought 17 and 17A Corporate Woods Boulevard this year. It was after the levy of school taxes, before the levy of property taxes. Being a division of New York State, they are exempt from taxes. In this case, the amount that is to be declared unenforceable is $62,396.55 for two properties.
They paid that?
No, they're not paying it. They have no legal obligation to pay it, and we cannot collect it because we can't foreclose on the state police.
Right, not yet, but.
With sadness, we'd like to make a motion.
Not yet.
Oh, wait a minute, hold on. Mr.
Did the
Commissioner.
state police own it prior to them buying it?
The state police bought the property after the school taxes, so the school taxes were paid. So they bought it, I want to say it was in October.
So are we giving it back?
Well, this money was not paid. This money is unpaid tax. So they are under no legal requirement to pay this outstanding tax bill that was levied by the town of Colony. So,
I think I'm a little confused. It was a death in the family
okay,
of Peacock. They owned this property. They were leasing to the state police, I believe.
okay. I'm not too sure of the arrangement prior
So are we
to.
letting Peacock out from under, from his estate?
The property, hold on, let's see here.
We still want to quarter ones.
When did they buy the property? New York State Police bought the property on November 2nd of 2023. So the school taxes, which were levied in September, right, were paid. They purchased the property in November of '23. At that point, they are exempt from taxes. So this
For
is.
the future?
Correct.
Okay,
So this
they're
is
not
the
getting any
January,
refund back.
this is the January tax bill that was issued January of 2024.
Good enough.
Okay.
Several question.
Yes, Mr. Simpson.
Going back to the 450 Central Avenue,
Yes, sir.
am I understanding that the Fort Orange Post Office is no longer functioning?
No, I actually don't know about the status of the post office. The point is that it's owned by the federal government, and there was taxes that were levied against the property,
Still open.
and they're under no obligation to pay those taxes. So typically, we would enforce the taxes by foreclosing on a property, right? But we can't foreclose on the federal government. So in that case, we would declare it unenforceable under 1138. The taxes then get charged back to the municipality, and then, so that way we're not trying to collect these taxes that we cannot collect and will never collect.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Joyce.
So you can't collect on, like say, nonprofits or those that are tax exempt, is that what you're saying?
Well, the federal government's a little bigger than we are.
Well, let's talk about churches.
So I would say it depends on what the taxes are. It's theoretically possible to foreclose on a non-for-profit entity, like a church, yes. So it could be done, and I believe it has been done in the past, not since I've been here. But I can look into that and get back to you with more information if you'd like to know about that. That's not a problem at all.
Yeah, okay, just
Yeah.
curious.
But with the federal government, I mean,
Planning
we're
ahead.
not going to get that money. So.
Okay. Any other questions? There's no other questions, I entertain a motion. Got a motion from Mr. Demarvitz. I got a second from Ms. Lakakis. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous, thank you
Thank
very
you
much.
all.
And Director McGuire, before you go anywhere, And we're gonna take item 5, which is the public hearing of proposed
Yeah, right.
local law F, which you're,
Oh, yeah.
oh, have I skipped one? No, we're not moving to that yet.
Sorry, Pat.
Okay, where we
I
going?
can leave.
Back to number 5. Number 5 is the public hearing on proposed local law number F,
Sure.
which Mr. McGuire has been instrumental in helping to explain.
So,
Yes.
let me see here. So local law F for 2024 is a real property tax exemption for living quarters of parents or grandparents. So real property tax law, section 469, permits this exemption for properties that were constructed or reconstructed to provide living quarters for a parent or grandparent who is 62 years or older. In order to allow for the exemption, the county would need to adopt a local law that allows for the exemption. The property must be located within the county. It must be the primary resident of the child or grandchild who is applying for the property, or applying for the exemption. It also must be the primary resident of the parent or grandparent that the house was or the living quarter was constructed or reconstructed for. Furthermore, the construction or reconstruction must have occurred after January 1st, 2023. The exemption amount that's going to be granted would be equal to the lesser of the increase in the assessed value of the home based upon that construction or reconstruction, 20% of the total assessed value of the property, or 20% of the median sale price of residential properties as reported by the New York State Commissioner of Taxation and Finance. And for your information, the 2023 median sale price for properties within the county was $280,000, so that could equate to exemption of up to $56,000. That was based on 2,881 sales that occurred. Any applicant would need to file a application with their municipal assessor, and that would have to be done by March 1st. There's an annual renewal certificate that would have to be filed with the assessor's office every year on or before March 1st. And that exemption would remain in effect as long as that parent or grandparent is residing at that property.
Motion to move.
No, I have a
Public
question.
hearing.
Hold on.
Public hearing.
No, just a real quick question though.
Absolutely,
Did I hear you say you have to file annually, right?
correct.
All right, perfect, that's all.
I'll second.
No, question, Madam Chair.
You got a question, Mr. Green?
Yes, I do, thank
Okay.
you. This could be a $200 million or, a $10 million home. Is there any cap on the assessment?
There's it's the lesser of the three, so it's either the 20% value of the improvement, 20% of the value of the home, right? Or the 20% of the median sale price of properties within the county. So the last year, in 2023, the median sale price was $280,000. So in theory, that maximum amount of the exemption would be $56,000.
Okay, so you do have a cap though, and it.
Yes.
It's in the backup.
The lowest of the three though.
Correct, yep,
Yeah.
the lesser of the three, yes, sir.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. I got a motion from Mr. Demolowitz, I got a second from Mr. Kakis. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Item 6
Thanks,
is
Mike.
tabled, pending public hearing, and now we're gonna move back to 12. Thank you, Mr. McGuire. Item 12 is authorizing the conveyance of various parcels of real property located in the towns of Vernon and Rensselaerville.
Hi, good evening, everyone. So this request is a property conveyance for 3 tax foreclosed properties, two located in Bern and 1 in Rensselaerville, to the New York State DEC for conservation purposes. This was a conveyance that was supposed to occur in 2011 for conservation purposes, but due to staff changes at the DEC and various other reasons, that conveyance never occurred. According to Laura DeGatano, who was initially working on this issue, she reached back out to the DEC, who stated that they are interested in the properties. The 2 properties in Bern total around 6.75 acres and are mostly forest. And the property in Rensselaerville is around 3 acres of mostly forest and has public fishing access. So each property would be conveyed to the DEC for $1 apiece.
Let's do it.
Second.
Okay, I'm gonna give due diligence to everybody else that's sitting around the table. Okay. Are there any questions? If there are no questions, then.
More wildlife, let's do it.
We don't do much for
I
Bern.
want to interfere with Mr. Demolowitz' social life, but that's okay.
Okay, so.
I'm all
so-
for green
So I
space.
have a motion from, which one are you?
Aye.
I got a motion from Ms. Lakakis,
Partridge, run.
and I got that second from Mr. Demolowitz. All those in favor?
So pretty,
Aye.
it's so pretty there.
Opposed?
Just go for a walk.
Unanimous. I want y'all to be nice to one another
We
tonight.
are being nice.
Thank you all.
Item 13 is a bond authorization for the Shaker Place Garage and Parking Lot Extension Capital Project. Mr. Olson and Mr. Phelan are here this evening.
Poor guys been waiting forever.
Good evening, committee, Madam Chairwoman. So we are seeking a bond approval to fund the contingency provision of the Shaker Place and DPW garage project. The initial financing authorization of $9,250,000 was to cover the project as bid, which was originally valued in February of 2023. The amount of the contingency funding we are seeking is $2 million to cover the unforeseen change orders as construction proceeds. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Do I see, Mr. Bergdorf?
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. Is there anything that you are experiencing now? Usually when you put a construction budget together, you include the contingency in it. So I assume that the $9 million had a contingency in it, and now we're adding that to become 11 million, right? Is that correct?
Essentially.
Essentially. So my question is, are we seeing anything either in the pricing of the construction, underground conditions, preliminary work, et cetera, that leads you to believe that in addition to what the contractor had as his base bid with the contingency in it, we need another $2 million? In other words, how come?
Okay. So originally, our original cost estimate on the project was from the architect and their estimate of the pricing of the project. When the bids came in, these are the bidded prices from the contractors, which were $2 million above the estimate from the architect.
Are we using a construction manager there or Wix?
Well, the construction manager is the county.
We're doing the construction management. Okay, I get it.
Any more questions?
No, I understand.
Thank you very much.
Motion?
I got a motion from Mr. Camiso. I got a second from Mr. Bolowitz. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Very good. Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much.
Item 14 is a bond authorization regarding improvements to
Thanks,
County
guys.
Route
Good to see you again.
167 Waterfleet Shaker Road Reconstruction Project. Commissioner Raimondo is here.
Thank you. Good evening, Madam Chair. Good evening, everyone. Yes, I'm requesting funding authorization in the amount of $1.691 million in financing for additional funding for construction of our Waterfleet Shaker Road project.
Thing Colony,
It is.
Mr.
Nice,
Malowitz?
nice.
Yes?
motion move.
Okay, I got a question from Mr.
We don't get this in Albany, that's why I'm curious, it's nice.
This
No,
is a big ticket.
New Road, Central Avenue.
Gentlemen,
It's
go ahead,
taken a long
Mr.
time to get
Bergdorf,
done.
you got the floor. Talk to Ms. Raimondo.
Lisa, at Public Works, we talked about whether you had gotten an updated figure from Liuzzi
Yep.
to complete the work this year, because it's gonna be in a different construction cycle.
Yep.
Price of asphalt, price of blacktop, et
Yep.
cetera. And you said you didn't have a final
That's correct.
a final thing now.
So,
Yeah, so how did we come to this
yeah,
$1.6 million if we don't have a final construction cost, but we do have increased engineering fees, which we approved the other night?
yeah, so this amount was determined back in the fall as a worst-case scenario by Louisi when they put together delay claims for various items. The cost of construction, paying their labor, mobilizing and demobilizing, winter construction, which they actually did. They were supposed to wrap up in October and they wound up staying out until like late November. So this is a worst-case scenario number. And so when I said we didn't have the
Okay.
updated number, we don't have that yet because we're gonna wait and see how things pan out. Because there was extra money in the contract, not this much extra money, not enough to pay them all of what is gonna be a delay. But, we just wanna make sure there's enough bonding authority and
Okay.
financing for the worst-case scenario.
So you're not gonna come back for more money, is the
No.
bottom line? This is a
No, it'll
conservative
actually
number.
be, yeah, that's correct.
Well, they're gonna come back
Yes.
to pay
Yes.
Louise.
Is
So-
used in asphalt.
Yeah, well, that's why I mentioned
So-
asphalt.
Yeah.
But the,
Let her talk.
I'll be back again though, once Louise, because I actually spoke with them today. And, you know, they've already begun construction this season.
Yeah.
And in the next month and a half or 2 months, they'll have like a good number for us. And at that point, I'll come back and amend their contract for that amount, and it will be less than this.
okay.
Yep.
Second point, this is all being caused because there was a utility that was asked to move their lines and did not. And the other two utilities did, and this third utility did not, and they weren't totally responsive from what I've been told.
So what happened was the first utility that was non-responsive, based on the way they were arranged on the poles, they needed to be the first to move. So not only did they delay the project for themselves, but they delayed the other two utilities because there was a
Okay.
sequencing. So Verizon and Spectrum couldn't move until Lumen moved. And Lumen dragged their feet from last spring of '23 until the fall of '23. And
Who's
then.
that company?
Pardon?
What name?
It's called Lumen,
Lumen?
yeah. Yep,
What, they do NIMO work?
it's some kind of
Private?
fiber optic.
Fiber.
Oh, fiber?
Yeah, and so, I mean, we were lucky to actually get, once Lumen finally moved, theoretically Verizon and Spectrum would have had like 8 weeks to do their work based on like the agreements set in place. And luckily, the other two utilities mobilized quickly and got their work done. Nonetheless, the damage was already done because Louise had to work with poles in the middle of the road last year, which slowed down everything.
Well, the interesting thing I heard at Public Works the other night was that the law department is actually reviewing, going after the utility that did not perform to see if we can get some of this $1.6 million back. Because it was nobody's fault other than the utility that was non-responsive.
All right, thank you.
motion?
Okay.
Not for Colleen, I don't believe.
Oh, another question.
Yeah, Madam Chair, yeah, I have a question for our councils. Are they aware of a circumstance where a utility didn't move the lines or something like this, and it had a real negative impact on the cost of the project? Because the taxpayers are going to have to pick this up unless we have any recourse. Do you know of any instances where there was ever recourse for just incompetence, as it appears to me?
Not offhand, no, because it's a utility, so it's hard to say how it'll play out, but I'm confident that law will look into it fully.
Okay.
Rebecca, wouldn't anyone, well, this is a county road, who would, doesn't each utility have to negotiate a right-of-way agreement?
Generally, yes.
Would that be, in this instance, with the town or the county?
It depends, I would assume the county, but I can't say that for certain, because of how it all plays out in actuality. I know, like for Route 2, even though it's a state road, certain of them are owned by Colony and rather than the state, so it really depends.
Well, I mean, I guess the only suggestion I have is, with somebody, Lumen has a right-of-way agreement, and obviously that right-of-way agreement probably has some provisions as to when they're directed to do something in the easement, what their rights and responsibilities are, and what their responsiveness has to be. So, to the extent that you're talking to our law department,
All right, thank you. So
please
we're-
do that and try and get us our money back.
Sick the lawyers on it.
All right, I got a motion from Mr. Demalowitz, I got a second from everybody down there, then, Mr.
Bird
Yeah,
Get that hand up there.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous, thank you very much.
Item 15 is a bond authorization for HVAC upgrades at the Water Purification District North and South plants. Director Gaudio is here this evening.
Thank you, everybody.
How you doing?
The district is requesting a bond resolution in the amount of $1.5 million to move our HVAC project forward. Again, this would be for both our north and south plant facilities.
Can you speak up?
Sure. We're requesting a $1.5 million bond resolution for our HVAC project, and this would be for both our north and south plant facilities.
Okay, no questions? Okay, I got a motion from Mr. Commissioner, I got a second from Mr. Kappas. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous, thank you very much.
We need you, Angela. It's that
Item
simple.
16 is a bond authorization for sludge processing improvements at the Water Purification District.
Yeah, as I indicated, this is for a sludge process improvement project. The amount for the bond resolution is $65 million. This bond resolution will be used to seek financing through Environmental Facilities Corporation, as well as seek grant monies through that agency.
Sweet.
All right.
Motion to move.
I got a motion
I'll
from Mr.
second.
Commissioner, I got a second from Mr. Kappas. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous.
Item 17 is a bond authorization for treatment process improvements at the Water Purification District North Plant.
Thank you. Again, request is for a bond resolution in the amount of $41,042,000. This is for improvements to our south plant. This will be for our treatment trains, so this will be the wet end process. We've already completed the engineering study for this, and this will allow us to move forward with the engineering design.
Wait. I'm sorry, I just have to ask this question.
You gotta be quick in this class.
Okay, I live in North Albany, and there's a smell out there
Oh, yeah. that was on TV.
that would drop a moose. So,
That's a big animal.
Good thing we don't have any.
That's a big animal. I've seen mooses.
it's that bad. Okay, so, I got two things here, one on the north plant and one on the south plant.
Correct.
Where's that smell coming from?
We're looking into it. We're not exactly sure. Actually, DEC is coming out tomorrow. They're going to be flying a drone over our north plant site, and we're going to.
Who's coming?
DEC.
DEC, oh,
So,
It's good.
again, it's unclear at this point because we're getting complaints upwards to like I-90 and the Route 9, which is west of us and against the normal prevailing winds, also uphill. So I don't think that one is associated with us. But we are working with DEC currently to identify the source of the odors. I guess
so
they've
you're
been-
saying it's not you all?
It's a wastewater plant, we produce odors. I don't know if we're the only entity in the area that does though, so. So I think as of right now though, we are working with DC to get information on where the complaints are coming from so we can identify this. Really the locations, the times to see if there's anything that is associated with us.
Well, you have a whole community, including me, and all my constituents, that would be very, very happy if somebody could tell us.
Yeah, it was on
You
TV.
can't go out your door, and I'm scared right now because it's gonna be 70 and 80 next week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would love to be able to stay outside, and do something in my yard or on my front lawn. So
Okay.
I'll tell them, I'll give them your name.
Sure,
So-
yep, yep, you know where I work, so that's fine.
Poor Angelo. Uh-oh.
All right, can I get a motion on this? I got a motion from Mr. Grimm, I got a second from Mr. Commissioner. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous, thank you very much. Which number are we on now?
Item 18 is a bond authorization for treatment process improvements at the Water Purification District South Plant.
Thank you. Again, the request is for a bond resolution in the amount of $72,594,000. As with the previous two projects, we will be seeking EFC financing for this project as well as grant monies, and the bond resolution is required to pursue both the financing package as well as bonds through Environmental Facilities Corporation.
Motion moved.
Okay, no questions, so I got a motion from Mr. Demolowitz, I got a
second.
second from Mr. Kakis. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous, thank you very much.
Item 20, we need a motion to table.
Motion table.
I got a motion to table from Mr. Demolowitz, I got a second from Mr.
Thanks,
Kakis.
Ansel.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous, thank
There's
you.
an additional item that Granicus did not put on the agenda for the capital plan. We need to move the capital plan out. This is for the capital plan itself. It's 21.
Oh, it's not.
It's not on the agenda because there was an issue with Granicus.
It is in Granicus now, though, on your
Yep,
tablets.
it has been updated.
It is on there now?
Yep, it's to
It's
move the
on
capital
Granicus, yeah.
plan itself.
Item 21.
We had the public hearing on it the other day, and there were no speakers.
Is he
We're going back on
is he speaking on this?
You don't have it?
Hey, good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
This, Pat Alders, Deputy Commissioner of Department of Management and Budget. requesting authorization for the legislature to move the 2025 to 2029 capital plan. It is a $513 million capital plan. If there's any questions at this time, happy to take them.
No. Motion.
Second.
I got a motion from Mr. Smith, so I got a second from Mr. Robbins. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous, thank you very much.
And then now we're going back to item 4, amending the rules and regulations for Albany County employees regarding health insurance benefits for retirees. Mr. Mayo is here this evening.
Good evening, everybody. In 2019, we passed a resolution and we lowered the amount of years from 20 to 15 in order to get your health insurance benefits. But that was consecutive years. So what this resolution does, it would be aggregate or non-consecutive. You need 15 years to get your health benefits. And a couple things I would like to mention. One is if you're a retiree, you can't come back and get any further benefits. You can't improve it. And secondly, if people do come back and work for the county, they would need to come back for 3 years, 3 consecutive years. And also, I know the resolution, I think it's hard to see, but they're at the bottom of the first page, where it says if reinstatement to county service. So that's going to be taken out. Anything that has to do with part-time, it's not going to be included in this. It'll just be full-time employees. So that's about it. We're not voting on it tonight. I need to get a fiscal impact on it. But if anybody has any suggestions or would like to join me on it, that's fine.
Mr. Bergdorf.
I have a question that I heard you do the whole presentation. Is this from a date forward? Or for example, if somebody came back last year and we passed this, would they be covered by it? Is it prospective or can anybody? I mean, it's being held. I mean, I think it's just to understand who it applies to and who it doesn't.
Well, personally, I wouldn't want it to apply to anyone. If somebody came back, 5 years ago, and had 9 years in or whatever.
But if somebody came back last year and now under this, they would have to do 3. Do they have to do 3 or 2? Because they came back and they've already done a year back.
Yeah, but this didn't
Then
pay,
it's
the law
prospective.
didn't take
I think it's
effect.
3, yeah.
Because I say that.
It has to be from now, doesn't it?
It'd be from now.
Mr. Clement, can you shed any light on that question?
How you do it?
Don't be afraid.
I don't, if the resolution doesn't speak to it does talk about retroactivity, it says for going forward. So I would assume going forward would mean the 3 years from the now.
I can speak
I
to
think,
that legislative.
my idea was, sorry,
Counsel?
3 years from hire.
Sure.
We got a
Let counsel
lawyer.
answer. Hold
So,
on.
the way it is drafted currently, it's anyone who's not currently an employee at the time of this rule's adoption.
Okay, so it
a
is
person-
prospective, as it says.
Yes. If a person came after the adoption of this new rule, they would have to have 3 years. If a person came back 2 years ago and they didn't have, and they then were able to get to their 15 in aggregate, they would then qualify under this rule.
Wait, you
So they don't
lost
have-
me with that.
Yeah, they don't have to go 3 years
It's
then?
the 3-year.
3 years is if you return to county service after the adoption of this rule, because currently, if they came back previously, if they came back a year ago, they are current employees of the county. So if a current employee of the county looks to separate under this rule as written, they would just need to check if the 15 years in total has been met.
Oh, okay.
If they were to come back after the adoption of this rule, we don't want people, and again, not to speak for the sponsor, but if I understand the intention correctly, is that if people are coming back to try to say, oh, well, now I want to be able to qualify for the health insurance benefits, those people returning after the adoption of this rule will then have to put in 3 years of continuous service.
Okay.
Okay, I think I got it.
Yeah, that was my intent. And this, I think somebody asked in personnel, and this really is kind of a recruitment tool. You know, we're trying to get more people, we're down hundreds of people. And maybe we can get some people with knowledge to come back and work a few years.
Did the,
Ms. LaCaracas?
thank you. Is it 3 years, was there like a formula that you chose that?
No, I actually tried to weigh between the cost and the benefit to an employee, like trying to entice an employee to come back. I thought 3 years might do it. Somebody went into, maybe had 12 years in private industry and wanted to come back, maybe they're fairly young, like 55, 52, and they could end up getting their, full benefits without it costing the county as much as, if it wasn't 3 years, if I didn't put that in.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So people can't just come back and then retire tomorrow?
Yeah, yeah.
This requires them to stay for a while?
Okay, so, just so that I understand, if somebody's been gone 14 years, and they need 1 year, correct? And they came back last year.
They're gonna be mad.
Okay.
We're sitting pretty.
Okay, so now, they came back last year, so what are they eligible for? And when does their 3 years start counting?
Well, they would be good, they would have their 15.
But they would still have to stay for the full.
3, right?
No,
If they're already employed, they.
Oh, yeah,
Right.
sorry.
They're
yeah.
employed, yeah.
So they got 14 years, excuse me, but they were gone.
Right.
They came back last year. When does their 3 years start counting? Wait, or does it start counting? I'm trying to get to. They got 14 years that they accumulated 4 years ago. They left county service. They came back last year, and they've been working a year, okay? And so they have 15 years, okay?
Not concurrent.
So now, when does their 3 years start counting that they have to stay? Did it start last year when they came back?
They don't have to do 3 years.
Right.
They don't have to do 3, they got 15.
May I use a better example?
No.
I think I know where
If they're
you're
already
going.
employed, they have to
Say
get
they-
15.
Listen,
Say,
Linda.
say they came back with 12 and a half years last year, and they've worked a year, so now they have 13 and a half years. What do they have to do?
Year and a half. They're already working,
They're already working.
they're already with the county.
So it's not a minimum of 3, it's
It is a minimum of 3.
3 until you get
After
to
enactment.
15.
After enactment, okay? If they're already working, then it's just to get to 15.
You're talking people that left and came back is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
When does that start is what you're trying to say, right? I
Yeah.
mean, that's, and I would start after the passage of this legislation. I mean, so then from that time on, if you're coming back, you gotta have 3 years.
You have to
Well,
work.
not
Yeah.
necessarily, because I was just told,
No,
if
it's
you came
exact-
back with
that's it.
12 and a half,
No, Paul,
No.
it is, if you come back after the effective date of the legislation, you need 3
3
years.
years, yeah.
In all the examples that you and the chair had, those individuals were working prior to enactment.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
oh, so then it's just reaching the 15.
Yes,
Yes.
Correct.
Right there.
if you're working for the employee.
Yeah.
So all of those that are presently working, I just want to understand this. Since they are already on the payroll, right? As soon as they get 15 years,
They're in.
they're eligible. They don't have to work. The person with the 14 years does not have to work 3 additional years or 2. He's
They didn't
good.
have to go 30 years like
That's
me.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. That answers.
Yeah, because the whole point, Madam Chair, the whole point is to get them back in. So that's the whole point, you get them back in, but if they're already here, then there's no point of having the 3 year.
All right. All right.
Are we tabling this?
It's tabled at request of sponsor.
Fiscal report,
Okay, this has
fiscal.
been tabled at the request of the sponsor.
Motion to adjourn.
We're very happy about that until we get everything, straightened out so that, all the questions, all the Ts can be crossed and all the Is can be dotted.
Madam Chair, can you tell us your understanding of the meeting that's coming up on, because I got a notice for the Finance Committee meeting at 5:30, but no rationale for the meeting. Could you fill us in?
The agenda will be published tomorrow, but
Is it same May? Okay, on Monday. All right, it's still social, oh my God, social services. I'm sorry, forgive me, I got a lot of stuff running on in my head. It's still an Audit and Finance Committee meeting. As you notice, we did table, was that the second item on the agenda tonight? I believe it's the second one.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes,
gonna
yeah.
take that separately.
So they're coming in to hear our questions, and we hear from them.
That's right.
Yeah.
I wanted to do a separate meeting so people would have the benefit of being able to ask their questions.
Number 2.
And also have the benefit of being able to ask that agency.
Yeah, good. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay? And so I still need a motion table, don't I? You did-
No, I motion to adjourn.
Adjourn?
Did we take?
He did.
Oh, okay, all right, so a motion to adjourn.
I've given one.
Okay,
Yeah.
Lynn?
Whatever it is, yes.
we're getting tired now.
We're getting punchy.